Hello and welcome back to Brickinet. 2022 has come to an end. Now as we begin 2023, I thought we'd have a look at our castle before it goes through quite a major series of renovations and refinements over the course of the coming year. So let's start by pulling back and getting a look at what we're working with. So the castle now has a much more pleasing exterior than last time, mainly due to the fact that we don't have a huge hole in the middle. We've filled this with this large panel. So let's come into the castle and have a look at what's going on inside. So before we move inside, let's have a quick tour of the interior. First up, we see the groom standing at the front door, because we have the castle set up for a third year scene. He's lurking around, and this central column you will have seen if you've watched before, build on a series of live streams. There's me on the top, and again, as we're in third year, the castle is haunted around its roof by dementors, but also hanging out on the outside are the various castle ghosts. Oh, there's Ghost Dog lurking around the exterior of our castle. I have the bloody Baron flying around up here. So you move around the side of the castle, you can take a look inside the astronomy tower, come down to the gallery with launch window, the balcony at Flitwick's office, down to our greenhouse and our small garden. Alright, let's open up and see what's inside. So opening our castle is a fairly easy experience. Just remove this cosmetic tower, just covering up one of our staff room gargoyles. We open one side, move the tower across and open the other side, and we have access to our interiors. So before we start looking in detail, let's see what's hidden inside the stack. So this is our hidden scenes module. This is going to be added to greatly in the coming year. First completed scene is our Forbidden Forest, and as we're set up for a year 3, we've got Buckbeak and Hagrid hanging out in the forest. These limb elements are all movable. They can expand beyond the bounds of the scene just to make it look a bit more natural and not so hard edged. And this is going to be a scene for display of various scenes in each year of our story. It can also serve as other forest locations, such as when Harry, Ron and Hermione are camping out. We could base the scene with the Silver Doe here, Snatchers, all sorts of scenes. Use forests and woodlands. So that's going to be the basis for those scenes. This blank scene is where we're going to build our Hagrid's hut scene. That's going to generally sit alongside the forest. Got plans on working on that at the moment. Just can't come up with a satisfactory idea. Here is the first look on one of our new interiors. This floor is going to be an interior scene that's going to change depending on what book or movie we're representing. So on the live stream, you saw me put together 12 Grimmauld Place, which is going to be one of the interiors for this module. Here we have an interior for the Shrieking Shack. So we've got the bed and the chaise and the doors and the rickety walls. Incorporate some sticker elements, and we'll be looking at how this scene was put together in a forthcoming video. Up here on top, well, haven't quite decided. I like the idea of a Hogwarts Express hidden scene, maybe, although it's fairly boring. It's always going to be people sitting around in a train, nothing too exciting happens. But what it'll most likely end up being is for Privet Drive, because there's generally a good story to be told there. So just heading back to the forest, we can add in some additional elements like this lakeshore here, and that will just tack onto the edge depending on the scenes we want to display. So that's our central tower. Let's go and look at the rest of the castle. So when the castle's open, the front tower is removed. These scenes will be displayed up on the shelf, which is also where we'll keep the horn tail with the shattered tower when it's not being displayed on the castle. Also up here in the background you can see all the Hogwarts moment books containing a Diagon Alley, as well as these ones which contain our Quidditch pitch and our Quidditch teams, some elements for the school. This contains the interior for 12 Grimmauld Place, and these black and red books are a first pass at a Ministry of Magic in a mock cover. This big plate of minifigures you can see behind there are all our denizens, well mostly, obviously not the singing banshee, of Diagon Alley, and the various wizarding models that we just populate scenes with. And most of these are going to be released throughout January 2023 in a series of shorts, so you can see all of those characters. Now let's move down and into the castle itself. So we'll start off with the last module built in 2022, and that's Snape's office. You can see all his potion ingredients. He's got a store cupboard in the back. Just there, you can just see through the gloom. He's borrowed Dumbledore's pensive to keep those memories safe, even though that's still not for a couple of films' time. And there's Snape's office. Moving up the level, we move into the staff room. You see Professor Charity Burbage, Muddle Studies Professor, and Professor Grubbly Plank just hanging out and enjoying a cup of tea. On our next level, we have our library, the Madam Pince figure from the Dumbledore's office set. All of these modules have a view in from the end, and our staff room is guarded by the two gargoyles. Above the library, we're going to see our charms classroom, Professor Flitwick doing his thing. We move up into the Ravenclaw common room, Gryffindor common room and dormitory. So I've been having a little play in the dormitories, experimenting with making those beds into canopied beds, and inspired by a nice little mini build done by Duncan Egg Bricks, I've replaced the old bedside cabinet that was there with that new burner that you see in the film. It's a little stove for keeping the room warm. Place our student in there, and of course you enter Gryffindor common room through the portrait hole, baubles, and there we get a nice viewing angle into our common room. I should imagine come the spring all of the common rooms are going to be getting a nice upgrade thanks to those new house banner sets eagerly anticipated. But that's another story. Here we have the astronomy tower classroom, Professor Sinistra teaching a nice full class of students. Oh yeah, even Hermione's in there. On the next level, I have a student looking at a globe, an astrolabe and telescope. Moving up even further, another telescope on our balcony. And some owls and the Bloody Baron circulating the tower. Let's move on. Starting in the basement of our opposite tower, we have our Hufflepuff common room and dormitories. Nice riot of yellow and black. I think the Fat Friar's paying a visit today. Moving up to Transfiguration classroom. Professor McGonagall demonstrating her Patronus. Up into History of Magic, one of our mock classrooms, using leftover pieces from the Hogwarts moments, which were parts contributors to many of these classroom mocks. Moving up into the hospital wing, we see Ron not very well, with Harry and Hermione nowhere in sight. At the top of this tower, here we have the Ravenclaw common rooms and dormitories. A couple of young Ravenclaws enjoying a game of chess and lurking around the rooftops. Moaning Myrtle, probably on her way down to the Black Lake for a swim with the squid. Here you see my current mock for the Grey Lady. Obviously she'll be relegated to Nameless Ghost number 3 in March when that new Room of Requirement set comes out with the Grey Lady model. More Death Eaters and Owls around the roof, along with Peeves planning his next prank. Right, let's move downstairs and finish our tour. So we come down to the basement again on the main tower. Here we see the kitchens with the desserts laid out, ready to be sent up to the Great Hall, which is just above with our house elf. Clearly not Dobby because it's only year 3 and it doesn't work here yet. Have a set of basement steps. These may be going, although they are a nice space filler and I like the look of them. May turn out we need more room in the basement for upcoming projects. Room we can't get rid of course, is our potions classroom, featuring Malfoy, Seamus and a disapproving looking Snape, before we move across to our Slytherin common room and dorms. As we go upstairs, we get a little scene outside. This is actually the outside of our greenhouse module, with a student on the way to our small greenhouse with Cedric doing a bit of potting. The greenhouse is almost definitely changing in the new year. It's always been an underloved module. It's time to change that. Here we have our grand staircase, portraits on the wall. Again, it's just a purely aesthetic staircase, doesn't actually lead anywhere, but it does make a nice module and a nice entrance to the castle. You can see there's an archway that leads outside there, another one on this side, which currently connects to this small entrance hall. We have our educational decrees. Again, they shouldn't be there for this display. They are tricky to take down, hence prompting a bit of a redesign of this whole Great Hall module. This time set up for when the students are hiding from Sirius Black, so they get sleeping bags out in the Great Hall and everyone's gathered there. You can see that really nice Percy Weasley figure in the background, keeping an eye on things. Nick trying to keep up morale. Apparently the teachers think it's fine to sit there boozing while the students are trying to get to bed. Next floor up takes us to our Defence Against the Dark Arts classroom. This one has its year 3, featuring Professor Lupin. Can we find him? There he is, with his gramophone in the background, the desking chairs stacked up so that our students can practice fighting the boggarts. And here we see Neville against the boggart Snape. The boggart wardrobe at the back over here is actually a reversible piece with the blackboard on the back, so it's a more useful element for other years. We move across into the Defence Against the Dark Arts corridor, Again, due to upcoming changes, this is going to be slightly amended, but we see the entrance to Dumbledore's office there in that archway, and then just across the hallway we have the Defence Against the Dark Arts teacher's office, again set up as lupins. So we have odd dark creatures in containers at the back. We've got a tea chest there that probably contains a boggart, as well as his desk and the fireplace, which plays a much larger part in our 5th year displays. Here in the what I call the 3rd floor corridor, we just see one of our stone torches displayed. This is where we can also put the arch piece that contains the graffiti in a year 2 display, and these are all shown on various videos on the channel. Before we move into the bathroom, which is just set up as a standard bathroom, some stalls and a sink. Alright, so the first module we're going to look at on the next floor is Professor Flitwick's office. This of course has the archway onto the balcony where we can pose Buckbeak and Sirius for the rescue. And Professor Flitwick has obviously lent his office to the choir master. I know that's actually Professor Flitwick as well, but I always think of it as a separate character. It just doesn't sit right that they changed the entire look of the character halfway through the series. And here we move on to the Room of Requirement. Again, another module destined for a big adjustment when our Room of Requirement set comes out in the spring. For now it's displayed as a junk room. It wasn't really used in book 3. And we also have our new vanishing cabinet lurking there. Into our pillared gallery, one of our space filling modules. Swift required. This is one of the modules that will be sacrificed if I ever need more space, but for now somewhere nice to house a lot of those lovely stickers. And also it's where our entrance to the Room of Requirement is hidden. There we go. Right next door we move into the divination classroom. Got our crystal ball, our teapots and cups, and the steps just through the curtain there. You might just be able to see. Let's move this griffin door. There's a brick built staircase that leads up into, blend into that stickered staircase, and that leads up into Professor Trelawney's office, where still she's on the sherry. Then we're into Dumbledore's office. I've become less and less pleased with this as time goes by. It's prompted a major redesign, which has meant a lot of changes coming to the castle. But I'm very happy with the new design for Dumbledore's office, and parts availability aside, hopefully this should be one of the first new modules for the new look of the castle this year coming. Then we move into the long gallery. Remember, this was under construction last time we looked at this in our August 2022 update. Here we see Harry and Ron and an annoyed looking Cho passing by the statues of our 4 founders. So we have Slytherin, Ravenclaw, the Hogwarts architect, Helga Hufflepuff and Gryffindor. And these are made out of the same parts moulds as the founders figures in the Hogwarts castle, but obviously in monochrome, so we lose some of the detail. And obviously Hufflepuff and Gryffindor don't have faces. That's hopefully something we'll resolve in a future release. And we move on to the owlery. Because of the nature of my display space, not a separate building, so it has to be integrated into the castle if I want it. I need somewhere to display all of these owls that I've managed to amass. Still missing one. This year there was released a dark orange flying one in one of the city sets. I still need that to complete my collection. And we have a monochrome owl statue on the top. before we move back to our tower rooftops where we see Peeves. So that's our castle tour. So big now, I can't really get it all into one shot. There we go, minus the astronomy tower. There's our castle. So now that our tour's complete, let's have a look at some stills so you can enjoy each of the modules without the wobbly camera work. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave us a like. And if you'd like to see more castle builds and the way it's going to be upgraded in 2023, then please subscribe to Brickinet. Bye bye.